All right. How's it going, everybody? It is TC here, back with another episode of TC Talks. And today we're going to be trying something a little bit differently. I'm in my school studio today. As you can tell, it looks a lot nicer than the car does. Probably sounds a lot better, too. But what I'm going to try to do today is I'm actually recording into one of our studio mics, and I'm going to try to sync up the audio with the camera as well. That's why you kind of heard a little bang maybe in the beginning. I might have cut it, but if I didn't, that's what that bang is for, to help give me that cue. But thank you for being here. It is TC, and we are going to be breaking down some Chicago sports. I know we've been highlighting the Chicago Bulls making the playoffs, going to be versing the Milwaukee Bucks, and it does not look good for us here in Chicago, but nonetheless, we're going to be giving them the benefit of the doubt. Is there any way that Chicago can pull up a victory, at least one W against the Bucks? We'll be talking all about that in this episode. Again, make sure you tune into the Winner Circle tonight at 5 p.m. on SportsTownChicago.com or in the TuneIn app, or hey, you could go ahead and check out our live stream on Twitch. Go check that out on our Instagram, _winnercircle_22 for the link, and we will see you there at 5 p.m. But for now, let's continue on with what's going on with those Chicago Bulls. So what I've done is I have just pulled up the last few contests of the Bulls. As you guys know, the playoffs are going to start Sunday at Milwaukee, 5:30 p.m., and eventually going to end on Game 4, April 24th at the United Center. But we'll get into a little bit more of that as we go in. First, I wanted to talk about how the Bulls fared against the Bucks this season. Obviously not pulling off a win, and the progression of how good Milwaukee has gotten compared to Chicago is honestly kind of astounding. So the first victory for the Bucks was 94-90. Not too bad, right? 4-point difference. It was just within grasping reach. You know, Chicago just unable to pull it home, right? Well, the last game that they played, April 5th, a little bit of a different game, to be honest, especially when some of their top players did not play as much as they usually do against the Bulls. The Bucks won 127-106 versus Chicago. Now, I know what you're saying. It was one of those games where it wasn't like Chicago had everybody playing every second of the game, but DeMar DeRozan still playing 37 minutes, scoring 40 points, and honestly, you look at this schedule, or the scoring, 20 points in the first, 26 in the second. Looks like DeMar must have gone off in the third, because that's the only time the Bulls really scored any points, 36 points in the third quarter. But honestly, this looks like amateur hour over here, to be honest. I mean, DeMar DeRozan playing 37 minutes. Everybody else, starters usually playing good minutes in this game, but just not able to pull up the victory, even when Giannis only played 24 minutes in this game, which is a lot under what he usually does for the Bulls here, or for the Bucks there against the Bulls. So that's my first issue. Again, Giannis averaging 26 points a game, over 26 points a game, over 32 minutes, over 13 rebounds as well. DeMar having a great season against the Bucks as well, 31 points, 4 assists in 37.5 minutes. But at the same time, when I look at that, the Bulls have one guy who's able to go up against this team, and the other players are just unable to do it, it seems like. I mean, even for Milwaukee, they have Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez. They've all gone off against the Bulls, each one of them scoring over 25 points at some point in these contests. And sure, the Bulls have occasionally had Zach LaVine go off and all that, but honestly, when you're looking at the Chicago Bulls team, there's nobody that's really able to score and keep up with DeMar to give him that second hand like you have Giannis with either one of those three guys that I just mentioned. And the biggest thing when it comes to the Bulls is the Bucks are one of those teams that are able to shoot the three ball pretty good. They shoot pretty often as well. So that's a tough spot for Chicago to be in. Now, Chicago does shoot the three ball pretty well. They have one of the highest averages, I think 4th or 5th overall in the NBA this past season. But at the same time, they do not shoot enough three-pointers. And I know what you're saying. You don't need to shoot three-pointers to win. Just look at the Suns. They're one of the lowest teams in terms of attempts for three-point shooting, but they're still the best team in the league. So that doesn't necessarily go with saying that you need to shoot threes to win. But when you look at what when you look at what Chicago has been doing, terrible perimeter shooting, and I don't mean beyond the arc. I mean 18-foot jump shots, stuff just outside of the paint. Terrible shot attempts, forcing a lot of shot attempts as well. So it doesn't look that well. And then again, in the final game against the Bucks, there were many points where they had fast breaks, missed layup opportunities of everything else. So for them to have that kind of sloppy play just doesn't go well with how their gameplay is set up anyway. I mean, I had to stop watching the highlights of that game just to refresh myself because I just kept seeing Vooch out in no man's land, trying to, play defense as, he would say, but I mean, he's constantly out of position, and it's not even to the point where it's like, oh, the guy made a good move and he just got that half step on him. No, I mean, this dude, I mean, I would play the video if I could, but I don't want to get in trouble, and plus this is going out on radio, so it's not like they're going to be getting the whole picture. But let me just put it to you this way. Vooch is such a liability at defense that he gets out-rebounded by guards at some point just because he doesn't know how to position himself on a basketball court. He literally just takes advantage of his size, and that is it. He's a great scorer, don't get me wrong. I mean, he will score 25, 27 points, keep it consistently like that, over 20 points. But at the same time, if you give up 40 points in a game, I don't care if you score 25. And that's been the thing about Vooch all season is he's great. He'll score up there in big numbers, but at the same time, he is such a liability on defense that it doesn't even require a guy like Giannis to go in. I mean, freaking Brook Lopez has dominated Vooch all season. So for him to be able to go in there and be able to get his hands on Vooch like that and come up with and make Vooch kind of look silly, especially when Vooch didn't even score a lot in this last contest. I mean, Brook Lopez scored 28 points on Vooch, and Vooch scored 7 points in 26 minutes. So for him to not even be able to produce offensively, if he can't produce offensively, his rebounds mean nothing to me, okay? Sure, 10 rebounds is a good amount of rebounds, but if you're talking about 10 rebounds on defense, that's not really much. I've seen Vooch, not an offensive rebounding guy, constantly clearing, just jogging back, trying to get back on defense because he knows he has to get back there to set himself up because he's at such a disadvantage. And even when he does get back in time, gets himself set up, he does not know where to be on defense once anything changes. He'll be like, all right, I'm going to settle down right here. Boom, good spot. Offense starts to make their own play, go through the progressions, and Vooch is like, okay, I lost my guy. Am I supposed to stay up here at the top of the key, with the point guard? What am I doing here? And he just, like in that game against the Bucks, he's staying right up next to the point guard at the key, top of the key, and his guy that he should be guarding is like 10 feet over from him and shoots an easy jump shot after he gets a pass, and Vooch is like, what's going on? And that's just how it's been. That's how I view him. And I literally had to stop watching the highlights of that game because it was so bad. I mean, it was impossible to see how the Chicago Bulls went from a great passing team, high energy, being able to shoot the three ball, to this team that doesn't want to shoot the three ball, passing was terrible to end the season. Passing was not good at all, especially in that game against the Bucks, April 5th. But beyond that, the Bulls have said, because it's been talked about how little the Bulls shoot the three ball, but it's been said that, Chicago needs to do something about the three ball. Billy Donovan was asked about this, I believe, early 2022, and his response was basically, they don't need to shoot the three ball. They need to worry about making their own shots and coming up with that. They don't need to worry about any other team shooting the three ball really well. They don't need to worry about getting that into their repertoire, which I agree with. Like I said, the Suns, one of the worst teams in terms of three-point attempts, still up there at the top of the league, so they're killing it. But the issue that I have with that is that Chicago is actually not able to deal with that. Now, teams that are able to consistently hit their shots, teams that are constantly leading, don't need to worry about the three ball as much. They need to just worry about the clock, keep scoring their points, call it a day. But for somebody like the Bulls, where they're struggling, they have offensive lulls in each game, and that's That's the other thing is they go up and down per quarter. Like I was talking about in this last game, only 26 points, 24 points, and like 24 points again in the fourth quarter, but a 36-point fourth quarter or third quarter, which is something that the Bulls struggle with. Is they're hot, they're off, they're hot, they're off. They don't ever play all four quarters, and that's really what comes to bite them in the butt. And sure, maybe shooting 3 more threes only adds a handful more points, but in that first contest against the Bucks, 90-94 loss, that's something where that could come into play, where if you would have tried a few more three-pointers, maybe that would have gone through. Now, I'm not saying that, shooting the three ball is the final answer, because it's not just about the three ball, it's about the quality of shots that they're taking. That's why I have the issue with the little attempts on three-pointers while, they're shooting, just within the arc to shoot a 2-point shot, forcing it up there, I might add as well, and coming down with a bad shot, missing it, and then starts a fast break for the other team, which, is something I saw regularly in that last game against the Bucks. So it's really hard for me to sit there and be like, yeah, don't worry about the three ball when you can't make, layups in transition, when you're trying to take bad jump shots just within the arc. I mean, if you're going to shoot a ball, an 18-footer, you might as well shoot a three. Unless you're DeMar, who's literally killing it and owning that spot of the court, you got to get out there. You got to do something different. I mean, I would rather you miss a three-pointer and call it a day than to have you pull up a step inside the 3-point line and miss that shot. Because it's like, what did you do if you made that? You would have made 2 points, and it's the difficulty, essentially, of a 3-point shot. So, honestly, that's what the Bulls need to be doing. They need to worry about passing. Passing's been off. Not as big of an issue, in my opinion, but still something to take note of. They need to come down with better shots, and obviously you can't control every single one, but you can control those ones where you pull up a foot out inside of the 3-point line to try to shoot a shot. I mean, there's so many off-balance, weird shots that these guys are doing. Just play your game, slow it down, and look for your shot. If you don't have your shot, give it to DeMar. Give it to somebody else. Give it to the guy that's open who has his shot ready and lined up. But too often you see these guys throwing up ducks just hoping for something to happen. And I get they're NBA players. They could throw up a duck and it has a way better chance of me throwing up the most perfect shot I could give. But at the same time, when it comes down to these blowout losses, 126-106. 127-106, and you're going to play these guys first round in the playoffs. That's not good. That's pathetic. Honestly, season sweep for the Bucks. It's going to be a series sweep for the playoffs as well for the Bucks. I do think if Chicago is going to win a game, they're going to win Game 4 in Chicago at the United Center, force a Game 5, and then the Bucks are going to win the next game in Milwaukee. But honestly, other than that, I don't see anything else coming of this series for Chicago. I think it's going to be a good learning lesson, and I hope when Vooch is just put on blast in this series, when he just looks like a horrible player, when he gets 7 points again in 29 minutes and gives up 50 points, I hope then Chicago really starts to take a look about what they're going to do with Vooch next season. I know he's the second highest paid guy, and I know especially after a rough season, especially if he does as bad as I think he's going to do in the playoffs, it's going to be hard to get rid of with someone with that much cap space, but at the same time, they got to figure out something. Vooch is not the answer. Tristan Thompson, I thought he was going to be a good addition, help out on defense a little bit, but he is just so gosh darn slow. He's not able to do it. He's playing in a league that is past him. 10 years ago, fine, he's good, whatever, but Tristan Thompson, this isn't his league anymore. It's too fast-paced, it's too aggressive, and honestly, I love the guy. I'm glad the Bulls picked him up, but he is just not the answer that we were looking for. Is he a step in the right direction from Vucevic? Absolutely, because, if Vooch is going to score 7 points in 29 minutes, we don't need him on the court, right, for Chicago? Chicagoans, we can all agree if the Bulls are going to start someone, it should be Tristan Thompson. That would be my go-to thing, and that's not because he's great, fantastic, or anything like that, but because Vooch is just not the answer. And honestly, I'm at that point where I am just so fed up with him that Tristan Thompson would look like a godsend to me. But hey, that's just my opinion. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. We are on the hunt for 50 subscribers so we could go live with the winner circle. You will hear from the illustrious, better spoken Tyler Farringold if you guys are able to do that. If you guys want to check out some more of our videos, you could see them in the playlist below. Until next time, check out our Instagram, _winnercircle22 _22. My bad. I've been TC, and I will see you next time.